Good afternoon. Well, it's not a good afternoon, that's certainly the case, but I'm Julia Hartley-Brewer. This is Talk, the home of common sense. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. I usually have an opener to talk to you about, but I think we're all just a bit spellbound, aren't we? Just about the fact that we've got this horrific suspected terror attack on a synagogue in Manchester. It's the Heaton Park Synagogue. We now know it's been confirmed by authorities that a member of the public has died. Another member of the public is fighting for their life. This is after a suspect basically drove his vehicle into people on the pavement outside the synagogue in North Manchester. This, of course, bearing in mind, is the day of Yom Kippur. It's the holiest day of the year in the Jewish calendar, and many families at the synagogue. A security guard, we understand, was stabbed. This is the point at which the firearms officers were deployed onto the scene. A video does actually exist, and we are going to try and get it to you as soon as possible, of the suspect being shot dead by the police. It has been confirmed by the police that the suspect was shot dead. Now, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has stated that the immediate threat is over. There is no immediate danger. People have been advised, obviously, to stay away from the area. And we know that the Army bomb disposal unit has been sent to the unit to the scene where some sort of suspected device believed to be attached to the suspect, who is dead in the street, having been shot dead by a police marksman. That it is believed that he may have some devices. Now, it is not confirmed whether they are authentic, viable devices, or if they are fake devices, but we understand that, according to the sources for the police in the Manchester Evening News, reported that the man was shot because it was believed he did have a device or devices on his person. Now, the Prime Minister is right now flying back from Copenhagen. He's been attending an international summit in Denmark, and he is flying back to attend a COBRA meeting in London. Now, of course, COBRA meetings are called for terrorist attacks and serious incidents, and the Prime Minister has sent his best wishes to the Jewish community. Said he's appalled by the attack. He said that they will be deploying extra security at synagogues around the country, and that he will work to keep the Jewish community safe. Philip Ingram, I was speaking just before the news. Philip Ingram is a former senior military intelligence officer, joining us throughout the show. That I have to say, really not good enough for Keir Starmer to be saying this. I know he himself is married to a Jewish woman. I get that, but the general view of many Jews in this country is that they are not being kept safe, and their concerns about security and their safety and their children's safety is not being taken seriously. The fact that every synagogue in this country has a security guard or more. Every community centre, it tells you everything you need to know. You don't have to have security guards outside churches. You don't have security guards outside temples or mosques. You have them outside synagogues, and there's a reason for that, because Jewish people are under attack, and this tells us very plainly.
Very much so. Whenever you get your Jewish man having to be moved on in the streets in London because the police say he looks openly Jewish, that shows that there's something wrong with society, and those individuals that are out flying the pro-Palestinian flags with their anti-Israeli sentiment, they translate that into anti-Semitic sentiment.
And people say there's different things. I've got plenty of friends and family members who have Jewish faith, who absolutely don't have any time with the Israeli policies in Gaza, but it's irrelevant. It's
completely irrelevant. Those that fly the flags, that believe that, have got some of the blood of today on their hands, because they're stirring up the hatred in society that individuals who are open to be groomed and radicalised and all the rest. And we don't know what's happened to the individual that was behind this, but speculating and linking to other similar instances, some form of self-radicalisation. A lot of what happens in that is picking up the sentiment of what's going on in society.
And
if you're doing that in society, you're at fault as well, folks.
Yeah. And if you all carry on with these lies about genocide, and you make a country a hate figure, and the people who support that country hate figures, what do you think's going to happen, right?
Exactly.
What do you think's going to happen? Now, let's go to our first guest. We're going to talk to Rupert Lowe, the leader of Restore Britain, an independent MP, in just a couple of moments. First up, let's talk to Chris Phillips. He's the former head of Counterterrorism Security at the Home Office, and he's a former Metropolitan Police DCI as well. Chris Phillips, thank you for joining us. Just in terms of what we know so far, and I've just gone through some of the detail, what do you think we're looking at in terms of motive, and what do you think we're looking at in terms of the government and the police reaction to this crime?
Well, it's clear that the police called Operation Plato very quickly, which means they thought it was immediately a mobile terrorist attack. They dealt with the incident incredibly quickly, actually. Excuse me. They dealt with the incident incredibly quickly, just a few minutes from the start before they dealt with the situation. The simple fact is the police can't be everywhere at all times, and luckily the Jewish community have the Community Security Trust, which means Jewish synagogues and other premises have their own security teams effectively, and it appears that may have helped to prevent this from being a much worse attack.
Well, indeed. Again, you say luckily. No, it's unlucky that they feel they need to have that. This is extraordinary. But we see increasingly sort of attacks on Jews in this country. We've seen in America, we've seen often very different motivations, but attacks on Christian churches. A Mormon church recently attacked. Increasingly we see, and we've seen in Africa, certainly attacks on churches and places of worship has been very common, or we certainly see it in the Middle East. In terms of motivation, look, we were discussing this earlier with another former Met police officer. You know, the reality is that, you know, the first thing we are going to jump to with a terror, you know, an attack on a synagogue, counter-terrorism units there, a suspected bomb, Cobra being called, you know, is that this is based, you know, this is based on some sort of Islamic political ideology, Islamist fascism. Is that what you would go to?
Yeah, it is, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist to put the bits of the jigsaw puzzle together to get to that point. But you do make a very good point there. It's not just synagogues that are being attacked across the world. In France, churches, cathedrals, priests have been attacked. Religious sites generally seem to be the focus of this terrorist group, and whether it's churches in Sri Lanka or France or synagogues right across the world, we've got to deal with this Islamic extreme view of the world that sees death as being the way to go.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, again, it's unconfirmed. We do not know the motivation of the suspect. We don't have his identity. Of course, the police probably already do. Now, the police have stated, you know, that this man was shot dead because, well, they haven't stated. Their sources have told people, you know, reporters in Manchester that the man was shot dead because it was believed he had a device or devices on his person. It's not been confirmed whether they were authentic or viable devices. The Army bomb disposal units have been drafted in to ascertain that and obviously make any devices that do exist as safe. But we've told you this is a lone attacker. We may not know that for sure yet. And of course, to a certain extent, is anyone a lone attacker anymore? Because people, and we know, are often being radicalised by what's on the internet. And you can even just see, I mean, the stuff, I mean, I get in my feed. I mean, I'm not looking on the dark web. I'm looking on the dark recesses of hate. And I'm on X, and the stuff gets, you know, I mean, stuff I get sent and stuff I see gets sent to people just routinely. Some of the most, I mean, the most blatant, obvious anti-Semitism, not anti-Israel, not pro-Palestine, anti-Semitism, the messages, the memes, and we see it on the streets of London every fortnight, every Saturday, every other Saturday, where people march along with flags and placards which are so blatantly anti-Semitic. I mean, it's horrific to watch them in our streets and have the police stand by and do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got a job to do to protect these communities, in particular the Jewish community, who, for no fault of their own, feel threatened and are being threatened. And as a society, we need to protect them. I think the thing is, it's this extreme behaviour that we see that we need to get a handle on, and we shouldn't be putting up with it. And you're right to say, I mean, the video that I saw, the police officer actually dispatched him, I think, because he was still able to stand.
He was trying to stand up,
appeared to have something wrapped around his body. And listen, there's a piece of advice there. If you strap what looks to be a bomb to your body, then the police
are going to get shot.
Quite legitimately going to kill you.
And I'm really very happy for them to do that. Thank God for the police who are willing to do that. Again, you describe this as a video that is doing the rounds on social media. We obviously there are very strict rules about what we can and can't show television. We're just editing that now to make it something that we can actually show you. But it does show the man, you know, police officers within a perimeter of a building, and we're armed officers, you know, telling the man to sort of get down, you know, and the man does sort of go to get up, and he is shot dead. There's quite a lot of shouts because concerned that he does have a device on him. Now, I mean, you know, you've been a police officer in a counter-terrorism unit. I mean, would this be normal? this would be how this would play out?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, even if you're 20, 30 feet away from someone that's got a device in it, in theory, if you look at the attack in Manchester, what they do is they pack the bombs with dockyard confetti, we call it, bits of new nuts and bolts and things, and those
nails
things
and,
if an explosion happens. So the police officers are quite within their rights to shoot him if they think that he's got a gun on him. Sorry, a bomb on him.
Yeah, it is extraordinary. But look, thank you very much indeed for joining us. I very much appreciate that. Chris Phillips, former head of the National Counterterrorism Security Office at the Home Office.